As we journey through life, societal expectations often push us towards a relentless pursuit of busyness and productivity, even as we age. The pressure to maintain a fast-paced lifestyle can be overwhelming, leaving us feeling stressed and unfulfilled. But what if the key to happiness in our later years lies not in doing more, but in consciously doing less? Imagine a life where the burdens of past responsibilities are lifted, replaced by a sense of tranquility and contentment. The golden years should be a time for reflection, joy, and inner peace, and achieving this requires mastering the art of letting go. True happiness in old age stems from carefully choosing where we invest our energy. It's about recognizing what truly matters and releasing ourselves from the things that no longer serve us. This video explores 8 areas where embracing a degree of laziness can actually enhance our well-being as we grow older. These are not about shirking responsibilities, but rather about strategically prioritizing our time and energy to maximize our happiness and minimize unnecessary stress. We'll delve into each area with practical examples and insights drawn from my experience as a physician specializing in mental health and aging, offering a roadmap to a more peaceful, joyful, and fulfilling later life. Join me as we uncover the power of strategic disengagement and discover how saying no to certain things can open the door to a richer, more meaningful life in our senior years. Number 1, stop overthinking about what others think of you. The freedom of self-acceptance. In our youth, the desire for social acceptance is a powerful force. We meticulously analyze our words and actions, constantly questioning whether we're fitting in, making the right impression, and earning the approval of those around us. Did I say the right thing? Do they like me? What will they think if I do this? These anxieties can consume our thoughts, shaping our behavior and often preventing us from truly being ourselves. We build elaborate narratives in our minds about how others perceive us, often based on assumptions and insecurities rather than reality. This constant self-monitoring can be exhausting and ultimately detracts from our own happiness. However, as we journey through life and accumulate experiences, a profound shift often occurs. We begin to realize the futility of trying to please everyone and the liberating truth that other people's opinions do not define our worth or dictate our happiness. This realization is a cornerstone of aging gracefully and embracing the freedom that comes with self-acceptance. I recall a patient named Margaret, a retired school teacher, who exemplified this struggle. She was a kind and gentle soul, but her life was heavily influenced by her anxieties about social perception. She meticulously curated her appearance, even for mundane errands like a quick trip to the grocery store, constantly concerned about what her neighbours thought. She second-guessed her opinions, hesitant to express anything that might deviate from the perceived norm. Margaret's life was a performance, a carefully constructed facade designed to garner external validation. Then, a health scare served as a catalyst for change. Facing her own mortality, Margaret experienced a profound awakening. She realized that all the time and energy she had spent worrying about the opinions of others had been a colossal waste. The people she had been so concerned about rarely gave her a second thought, preoccupied as they were with their own lives. This realization was a revelation, a moment of clarity that shattered the illusion of external validation. From that day forward, Margaret's perspective shifted dramatically. She shed the burden of other people's expectations and embraced the freedom of being herself. She started wearing clothes she loved, regardless of whether they were considered fashionable or not. She spoke her mind freely, no longer afraid of expressing dissenting opinions. She discovered the joy of pursuing her own interests without seeking external approval. Margaret's transformation was remarkable. She radiated a newfound confidence and peace, a testament to the power of letting go of the need for external validation. Margaret's story highlights a crucial lesson for us all. Letting go of the need to please everyone is incredibly liberating. It's a process of shedding the layers of self-doubt and embracing our authentic selves. People will always have opinions. It's an unavoidable aspect of human interaction. However, those opinions do not define our worth or dictate how we should live our lives. As we age, we gain the wisdom to discern whose opinions truly matter, the people who love and accept us for who we are, flaws and all. These are the individuals whose voices we should value. As for the rest, their opinions are simply noise, distractions from the path to our own happiness and fulfillment. The key is to focus on cultivating self-acceptance. Recognize your strengths and weaknesses, embrace your quirks and imperfections. The more comfortable you are in your own skin, the less you'll care about what others think. It's a journey of self-discovery and self-love, a process of peeling back the layers of societal conditioning and rediscovering the authentic self that lies beneath. This journey is not always easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. By freeing ourselves from the shackles of external validation, we open ourselves up to a life of greater authenticity, joy, and inner peace. We learn to trust our own judgment, to follow our own path, and to live a life that is true to ourselves, regardless of what others may think. This is the true meaning of aging gracefully, embracing the freedom to be ourselves, unapologetically. Number 2, stop wasting energy on arguments and drama, the wisdom of peaceful disengagement. In our younger years, we often carry a burning desire to prove ourselves, to assert our opinions, and to correct perceived inaccuracies. We engage in debates, defend our viewpoints with fervour, and feel a strong urge to win arguments. This tendency stems from a combination of youthful idealism, a need for validation, and a less developed understanding of the complexities of human perspectives. However, as we mature and gain more life experience, a profound realization often dawns upon us. Most arguments are ultimately pointless, a drain on our energy, and a source of unnecessary stress. We begin to understand that people hold on to their beliefs for a variety of reasons: personal experiences, cultural influences, ingrained biases, and that rarely can a single argument sway deeply held convictions. Trying to change someone's mind who is resistant to change is like trying to move a mountain with a teaspoon. It's a futile exercise that leaves us feeling frustrated and depleted. I recall a patient named John, a kind and well-meaning man who used to dread family gatherings. The reason? His siblings. Every holiday, the conversation inevitably turned to politics. And John, with his strong opinions, would find himself embroiled in heated debates. These arguments, fueled by differing ideologies and family dynamics, would escalate quickly, leaving everyone feeling stressed, resentful, and emotionally drained. The joy of family gatherings was overshadowed by the looming threat of political clashes. The relationships between John and his siblings began to suffer, strained by the constant tension and unresolved conflicts. One year, John had an epiphany. He realized that these arguments were achieving nothing. His siblings weren't changing their minds, and all the debates, all the raised voices, all the emotional energy expended had only served to create distance and animosity within his family. He decided to try a different approach. The next time a political topic arose, instead of engaging in the usual back and forth, John simply listened. When his brother expressed a viewpoint he disagreed with, John simply said, "Okay, that's your belief." He didn't try to refute it. He didn't try to change his brother's mind. He simply acknowledged his perspective and moved on. Initially, John felt a little uncomfortable with this approach. His instinct was to jump in and correct what he perceived as misinformation or flawed logic. But he resisted the urge. He focused on maintaining his composure and keeping the conversation respectful. To his surprise, the atmosphere at the gathering shifted. The usual tension was absent. The conversation flowed more smoothly, and the focus shifted to more positive and personal topics. John found himself enjoying the company of his siblings for the first time in years. Over time, John's new approach transformed his family gatherings. The political debates became a thing of the past. He learned to gracefully disengage from discussions that were likely to lead to conflict. He discovered the power of silence, the wisdom of choosing peace over proving a point. His relationships with his siblings improved dramatically, and he found a renewed sense of joy in spending time with his family. John's story illustrates a powerful lesson. Silence is often the most effective response, especially in situations where opinion's deeply entrenched. Walking away from unnecessary arguments is not a sign of weakness or defeat. It's a sign of wisdom, maturity, and self-awareness. It's about recognizing that not every hill is worth dying on, and that preserving our peace of mind is far more valuable than winning a debate. As we age, we learn to prioritize our energy. We realize that life is too short to waste precious time and emotional resources on futile arguments. We begin to discern between discussions that are constructive and those that are simply ego-driven battles. We learn to choose our battles wisely, reserving our energy for conversations that are meaningful, productive, and respectful. This doesn't mean we should avoid expressing our opinions altogether. It's about choosing the right time, the right place, and the right approach. It's about engaging in discussions with an open mind, a willingness to listen, and a respect for differing perspectives. It's about understanding that the goal of a conversation should not be to win an argument, but to learn, to connect, and to expand our understanding of the world. By letting go of the need to be right all the time, by choosing peace over conflict, and by mastering the art of peaceful disengagement, we can create more harmonious relationships, reduce stress, and cultivate a greater sense of inner peace. This is the wisdom that comes with age, the understanding that true strength lies not in winning arguments, but in choosing peace. Number 3, stop trying to fix everyone's problems, the art of compassionate detachment. Many of us are naturally inclined to help others. We derive a sense of purpose and fulfillment from offering support, solving problems, and providing guidance to those around us. This nurturing instinct is often deeply ingrained, particularly in those who have taken on caregiving roles throughout their lives. While generosity and compassion are admirable qualities, there comes a point where we must recognize the limits of our responsibility and the importance of allowing others to navigate their own challenges. Trying to fix everyone's problems can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and ultimately prevent others from developing the resilience and problem-solving skills they need to thrive. I had a patient named Susan who perfectly exemplified this tendency to overhelp. She was a natural caregiver, always putting the needs of others before her own. Her life revolved around fixing problems, from her adult children's financial struggles to her friends' relationship woes. Susan was the go-to person for everyone in her social circle, the one they turned to for advice, support, and often financial assistance. She derived a sense of worth from being needed, but her constant involvement in other people's lives came at a significant cost. Susan was perpetually exhausted, both physically and emotionally. She had little time for herself, her own interests and hobbies relegated to the bottom of her ever-growing to-do list. She felt overwhelmed by the weight of other people's burdens, constantly stressed and anxious about their problems. While she genuinely cared about the people in her life, her constant efforts to fix their issues were starting to take a toll on her own well-being. One day, Susan had a realization. She recognized that she couldn't continue down this path. She was burning herself out trying to be everything to everyone, and in the process, she was neglecting her own needs. She also realized that her constant interventions were not necessarily helping the people she cared about. By always swooping in to solve their problems, she was inadvertently preventing them from developing the skills and resilience they needed to handle challenges on their own. Susan made a conscious decision to change her approach. She started setting boundaries both with herself and with others. She learned to say no to requests that were beyond her capacity, and she began to prioritize her own well-being. She started focusing on enjoying her own life, rediscovering her passions and nurturing her own relationships. It wasn't easy at first. She felt guilty about not being there to fix things, and she encountered some resistance from those who were accustomed to relying on her. However, over time, Susan's new approach proved to be beneficial for everyone involved. She regained her energy and her sense of self. She learned to be a supportive presence without taking on the responsibility of solving everyone's problems. She became a better listener, offering empathy and understanding without immediately jumping in with solutions. And importantly, she gave the people in her life the space and opportunity to learn from their own mistakes and develop their own problem-solving skills. Susan's story highlights the importance of compassionate detachment. It's about recognizing that while we can offer guidance and support, we cannot and should not carry other people's burdens. It's about understanding that everyone has their own journey to navigate, their own lessons to learn, and their own challenges to overcome. Our role is to be a source of support, not a crutch. Learning to be a listener, not a fixer, is a crucial aspect of this process. It means offering empathy, understanding, and a safe space for others to share their struggles without feeling the need to immediately provide solutions. Sometimes people simply need to vent, to express their frustrations, and to feel heard and validated. Our job is to listen without judgment, to offer comfort and support, and to trust that they have the inner resources to find their own way. This doesn't mean we should be indifferent or uncaring. It's about finding a balance between offering support and enabling dependence. It's about recognizing that true compassion lies not in fixing other people's problems, but in empowering them to find their own solutions. It's about trusting in their ability to learn, grow, and develop the resilience they need to navigate the ups and downs of life. As we age, we gain a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of life and the importance of setting healthy boundaries. We learn to prioritize our own well-being, recognizing that we cannot effectively support others if we are depleted and overwhelmed. By practicing compassionate detachment, we not only protect our own energy and peace of mind, but we also create space for others to grow, learn, and discover their own strength and resilience. This is the true gift of aging gracefully, the wisdom to know when to help and when to let go. Number 4, stop chasing perfection and let go of regret, embracing imperfection and finding peace in the present. The pursuit of perfection is a pervasive human tendency, particularly in our younger years. We strive for flawless performance, impeccable achievements, and unwavering success. We set high expectations for ourselves, often driven by societal pressures, internal anxieties, and a desire for external validation. We meticulously analyze our actions, scrutinize our mistakes, and relentlessly chase an elusive ideal of perfection. However, as we journey through life, we come to realize a profound truth. Perfection is an illusion, a mirage that constantly recedes as we approach it. True happiness, especially in our later years, lies not in achieving the impossible, but in embracing imperfection, letting go of regret, and finding peace in the present moment. I recall a patient named Tom, a successful businessman who, in his younger years, had dedicated his life to his career. He worked long hours, travelled extensively, and poured all his energy into building his empire. His dedication paid off financially, but it came at a cost. He missed many of his children's childhood milestones, their school plays, their sporting events, their everyday moments of joy and growth. As Tom approached his 80th birthday, he was plagued by regret. He felt a deep sense of guilt and sadness about the time he had lost, the moments he could never recapture. He questioned whether his professional success had been worth the sacrifices he had made. Tom's regret was a heavy burden, a constant reminder of what he perceived as his failures as a father. He was trapped in the past, replaying old scenarios in his mind, wishing he had made different choices. However, one day, Tom had a realization. He understood that dwelling on the past was not changing anything. He couldn't go back in time and rewrite his history. He recognized that his regret was not only a source of pain for him, but it was also preventing him from fully enjoying the present moment. Tom made a conscious decision to shift his focus. Instead of dwelling on the past, he decided to make the most of the time he had left. He started spending more time with his grandchildren, attending their school events, listening to their stories, and sharing his wisdom and life experiences. He became a present and engaged grandparent, creating new, joyful memories that would replace the regrets of the past. He taught his grandchildren valuable life lessons, sharing the insights he had gained throughout his life, both professionally and personally. He found a renewed sense of purpose in connecting with the younger generation, in sharing his love and guidance, and in creating a legacy of positive influence. Tom's story illustrates a powerful lesson. Regret is a prison that keeps us trapped in the past. It's a heavy weight that prevents us from moving forward and embracing the present moment. While it's natural to experience regret for past choices, it's important to recognize when that regret becomes destructive, when it starts to consume our thoughts and overshadow our present happiness. Letting go of regret is not about denying our past or minimizing our mistakes. It's about accepting that the past is immutable, that we cannot change what has happened. It's about learning from our experiences, both positive and negative, and using those lessons to inform our present choices. It's about forgiving ourselves for our imperfections, recognizing that we are all human and that we all make mistakes. The key to finding peace in the present moment lies in shifting our focus from what we cannot change to what we can influence. Instead of dwelling on the past, we can choose to focus on the present, on the opportunities that are available to us right now. We can choose to cultivate gratitude for the good things in our lives, to appreciate the relationships we have, and to find joy in the simple moments of everyday life. As we age, we gain a deeper understanding of the impermanence of life and the importance of cherishing each moment. We learn to appreciate the beauty of imperfection, recognizing that it is through our mistakes and challenges that we grow and learn. We understand that life is not about achieving perfection, but about embracing the journey with all its ups and downs, its twists and turns. By letting go of regret and embracing imperfection, we free ourselves to live more fully in the present moment. We open ourselves up to new experiences, new connections, and new opportunities for joy and fulfillment. We learn to appreciate the wisdom that comes with age, the understanding that true happiness lies not in chasing an elusive ideal of perfection, but in finding peace, joy, and meaning in the present moment exactly as it is. This is the true gift of aging gracefully, the ability to let go of the past, embrace the present, and find contentment in the imperfect beauty of life. Number 5. Stop accumulating unnecessary things, the liberation of minimalism and the joy of simplicity. In our consumer-driven society, we are constantly bombarded with messages that equate material possessions with happiness and success. We are encouraged to buy more, accumulate more, and upgrade to the latest models. This relentless pursuit of material wealth can lead to a life cluttered with unnecessary things, a burden that weighs us down both physically and emotionally. However, as we age, a profound shift often occurs in our perspective. We begin to realize that true happiness does not stem from the accumulation of possessions, but rather from the richness of our experiences, the strength of our relationships, and the peace of mind that comes with simplicity. The later years of life offer a unique opportunity to declutter, downsize, and embrace a more minimalist lifestyle, freeing ourselves from the tyranny of things and discovering the joy of less. I recall a patient couple, both retired, who had reached a point in their lives where they felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of their possessions. Their large house was filled to the brim with furniture, clothes, knickknacks, and countless other items they had accumulated over the years. They found themselves spending more time cleaning, organizing, and maintaining their belongings than they did enjoying their retirement. The clutter was not only a physical burden, but it also contributed to a sense of mental clutter, creating stress and anxiety. One day, they had a conversation about their lifestyle and their vision for their retirement years. They realized that their possessions were no longer bringing them joy. Instead, they were becoming a source of stress and a hindrance to their freedom. They decided to embark on a decluttering journey, a process of carefully evaluating their belongings and letting go of the things they no longer needed or loved. They started by downsizing their home, moving to a smaller, more manageable space. This forced them to be more selective about what they kept. They donated old furniture, clothes they hadn't worn in years, and excess household items. They embraced the philosophy of less is more, keeping only the things that truly served a purpose or held sentimental value. The process was challenging at times, as they had to confront emotional attachments to certain objects. However, as they decluttered, they experienced a sense of liberation, a feeling of lightness and freedom they hadn't anticipated. The result of their downsizing and decluttering efforts was transformative. Their new, smaller home felt spacious and airy. They had less to clean and maintain, freeing up more time for the activities they enjoyed. They felt less stressed and more at peace in their surroundings. They discovered a newfound appreciation for the simple things in life, the joy of a good book, a walk in nature, or a conversation with a loved one. They realized that true happiness wasn't about having more things, but about having more experiences and more meaningful connections. The couple's story illustrates a powerful lesson. Material possessions do not bring lasting happiness. In fact, they can often become a burden, a source of stress, and a distraction from what truly matters in life. As we age, we have the opportunity to reevaluate our relationship with material possessions and to embrace a more minimalist lifestyle. This doesn't mean we have to live in a bare, sterile environment. It's about being intentional about what we keep, like surrounding ourselves only with the things that truly serve a purpose or bring us joy. Decluttering is not just about getting rid of stuff. It's about simplifying our lives, both physically and mentally. It's about creating space for what truly matters: our relationships, our experiences, our passions, and our inner peace. It's about recognizing that true wealth lies not in the abundance of our possessions, but in the richness of our lives. Letting go of unnecessary things can be a liberating experience. It can free us from the burden of maintaining and organizing a multitude of possessions. It can free up time and energy to pursue our interests and connect with loved ones. It can reduce stress and anxiety, creating a more peaceful and harmonious living environment. And, perhaps most importantly, it can help us to focus on what truly matters in life, the things that bring us lasting joy and fulfillment. As we age, we gain a deeper understanding of the impermanence of life and the importance of cherishing each moment. We realize that we can't take our possessions with us, and that true happiness lies not in what we have, but in who we are and how we live our lives. By embracing a more minimalist lifestyle, we can create space for the things that truly matter, the things that bring us joy, meaning, and lasting happiness. This is the true gift of aging gracefully: the wisdom to let go of the unnecessary and embrace the beauty of simplicity. Number 6, stop trying to please everyone. The courage of saying no and the freedom of self-prioritization. Throughout our lives, many of us have been conditioned to prioritize the needs and expectations of others. We learn to be accommodating, agreeable, and helpful, often at the expense of our own well-being. We say yes to requests even when we'd rather say no, driven by a desire to please, avoid conflict, or maintain social harmony. While generosity and consideration for others are valuable qualities, constantly trying to please everyone can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and a sense of losing touch with our own needs and desires. As we age, we begin to realize the importance of self-care and the liberating power of setting boundaries. We understand that true happiness lies not in pleasing everyone, but in honoring our own needs and having the courage to say no when necessary. I had a patient named Linda who perfectly exemplified the tendency to overplease. She was a kind and generous woman, always willing to go the extra mile for others. She was the go-to person for organizing events, volunteering for committees, and providing support to friends and family. Linda was always saying yes, even when she was already overcommitted and exhausted. She felt a strong sense of obligation to meet the expectations of others, and she feared disappointing anyone. Linda's life was a whirlwind of social engagements, commitments, and responsibilities. She was constantly running from one event to another, often sacrificing her own time and energy to fulfill the needs of others. While she enjoyed helping people, she also felt a growing sense of resentment. She felt like she was always giving and never receiving, and she longed for some time to herself, to pursue her own interests and simply relax. One day, Linda had a realization. She recognized that she couldn't continue down this path. She was burning herself out, trying to please everyone, and in the process, she was neglecting her own needs and desires. She understood that saying no was not a sign of selfishness or rudeness. It was an act of self-respect, a way of honoring her own boundaries and prioritizing her well-being. Linda began to practice saying no. It wasn't easy at first. She felt guilty about turning down requests, and she worried about how people would react. However, she persevered, reminding herself that she had a right to prioritize her own needs. She started saying no to social events she didn't enjoy, to commitments that drained her energy, and to requests that she didn't have the time or capacity to fulfill. To Linda's surprise, the world didn't fall apart when she started saying no. People were understanding, even appreciative of her honesty. She discovered that true friends respected her boundaries and didn't take her no personally. She also found that saying no created space for her to say yes to the things that truly mattered to her, the things that brought her joy and fulfillment. Linda's story highlights the importance of setting boundaries and prioritizing our own needs. Saying no is not about being selfish or uncaring. It's about recognizing our limits and honoring our own well-being. It's about understanding that we cannot be everything to everyone, and that it's okay to prioritize our own needs and desires. Learning to say no can be challenging, especially for those who are accustomed to being accommodating and agreeable. We may fear disappointing others, being perceived as rude or unhelpful, or missing out on opportunities. However, it's important to remember that saying no is not a rejection of the person making the request. It's simply a recognition of our own limitations. Saying no can be liberating. It can free us from the burden of overcommitment and allow us to focus on the things that truly matter. It can create space for self-care, relaxation, and the pursuit of our own interests and passions. It can also strengthen our relationships by allowing us to be more authentic and present in our interactions with others. As we age, we gain a deeper understanding of the importance of self-care and the finite nature of our time and energy. We realize that we cannot please everyone, and that trying to do so is a recipe for burnout and resentment. We learn to prioritize our own well-being, recognizing that we cannot effectively care for others if we are depleted and exhausted. By embracing the power of saying no, we can create a more balanced and fulfilling life. We can free ourselves from the tyranny of other people's expectations and live more authentically, in alignment with our own values and priorities. This is the true gift of aging gracefully: the wisdom to know our limits, the courage to say no when necessary, and the freedom to prioritize our own well-being. It's about understanding that true happiness lies not in pleasing everyone, but in honoring ourselves. Number 7, stop rushing through life. Embracing slow living and finding joy in the present moment. In our fast-paced modern world, we are often encouraged to be constantly on the go, to maximize our productivity, and to strive for ever greater achievements. We rush from one task to another, always looking ahead to the next item on our to-do list, rarely taking the time to truly appreciate the present moment. Life can feel like a race, a constant striving to reach some elusive finish line. However, as we age, a profound shift in perspective often occurs. We begin to realize that life is not a race to be won, but a journey to be savored. The later years offer a unique opportunity to slow down, to appreciate the simple joys, and to find contentment in the present moment. I recall a patient named George, a man who had spent his entire life in a state of perpetual motion. He was a successful businessman, always rushing from one meeting to another, constantly juggling multiple projects, and rarely taking a moment to pause and appreciate his surroundings. His life was a blur of activity, a constant striving for more, a relentless pursuit of success. After retiring, George found himself at a loss. His days, which had once been filled with activity, now stretched before him, seemingly empty and purposeless. He felt restless and anxious, unsure how to fill his time. He tried to maintain his busy lifestyle, filling his days with errands, appointments, and social engagements, but something was missing. He felt a sense of emptiness, a lack of fulfillment. One day, George decided to try something different. He woke up early, made himself a cup of coffee, and sat on his porch, simply watching the sunrise. He didn't check his phone, he didn't plan his day. He simply sat and enjoyed the beauty of the moment. As he watched the colours change in the sky, he felt a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in years. He realised that he had been so busy rushing through life that he had missed countless moments of beauty and joy. From that day forward, George began to embrace a slower pace of life. He learned to appreciate the simple joys, the small moments of beauty that he had previously overlooked. He savoured his morning coffee, he took leisurely walks in the park, he watched the sunset with a sense of awe. He engaged in deep conversations with his wife, his children, and his friends, truly listening and connecting with them on a deeper level. He discovered the joy of stillness, the peace that comes from simply being present in the moment. George's story illustrates a powerful lesson. Life is not a race to be rushed through, but a gift to be savoured. The best moments in life are often the simple ones, the ones we tend to overlook in our busy lives. It's the quiet moments of contemplation, the shared laughter with loved ones, the beauty of a sunset, the joy of a simple pleasure. These are the moments that make life meaningful, the moments that bring us lasting happiness. Learning to slow down and be present is a crucial aspect of aging gracefully. It's about shifting our focus from doing to being, from achieving to appreciating. It's about recognizing that true happiness lies not in the accumulation of accomplishments, but in the richness of our experiences and the depth of our connections. Being present means paying attention to the here and now, fully engaging with the moment without judgment or distraction. It means savoring the sensory details of our experiences, appreciating the beauty of our surroundings, and connecting with the people around us on a deeper level. It means letting go of our worries about the future and our regrets about the past, and focusing on the present moment, the only moment we truly have. As we age, we gain a deeper understanding of the preciousness of time and the importance of making the most of each moment. We learn to appreciate the simple joys, the small moments of beauty that life has to offer. We discover the peace that comes from stillness, the contentment that comes from being present. By slowing down and embracing the present moment, we can find greater joy, meaning, and fulfillment in our lives. We can cultivate a deeper appreciation for the world around us, strengthen our relationships with loved ones, and discover a sense of peace that transcends the busyness of modern life. This is the true gift of aging gracefully, the wisdom to slow down, to savor the journey, and to find happiness in the present moment. Number 8, stop worrying about the future, embracing uncertainty and finding peace in the present. The human mind is naturally inclined to project into the future, to anticipate potential outcomes, and to plan for various contingencies. This ability to think ahead is essential for navigating the complexities of life and making informed decisions. However, when this natural tendency morphs into excessive worry and anxiety about the future, it can become a significant source of stress and diminish our enjoyment of the present moment. We often spend countless hours ruminating on what might happen, imagining worst-case scenarios, and trying to control outcomes that are ultimately beyond our control. As we age, we begin to realize the futility of excessive worry and the importance of embracing uncertainty. We learn that true peace comes not from trying to predict and control the future, but from accepting its inherent unpredictability and finding contentment in the present moment. I recall a conversation with an elderly woman who shared a profound insight about worry. She said, "I've worried all my life about everything imaginable. And you know what? None of it changed a thing." Her words struck me as remarkably wise. She had lived a long life, experienced its ups and downs, and come to the realization that worry, while a natural human response, ultimately has little impact on the unfolding of events. Her observation wasn't about dismissing the importance of planning and preparation, but rather about recognizing the limitations of our control and the futility of excessive worry. She went on to explain that her worry had not only failed to prevent negative outcomes, but it had also robbed her of countless moments of joy and peace. She had spent so much time and energy fretting about what might happen that she had often missed out on the beauty and richness of the present moment. She had learned, through experience, that life is full of surprises, both pleasant and unpleasant, and that the best way to navigate its uncertainties is not through worry, but through acceptance and resilience. The old woman's wisdom highlights a crucial lesson. Worrying about the future is a futile exercise. It doesn't change the outcome, it doesn't prevent problems, and it certainly doesn't make us better equipped to handle whatever challenges may arise. In fact, excessive worry can have the opposite effect. It can cloud our judgment, impair our decision-making abilities, and drain our emotional energy, leaving us less prepared to cope with whatever the future may hold. And the truth is, the future is inherently uncertain. We cannot predict with absolute certainty what will happen tomorrow, next week, or next year. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, unforeseen events, and circumstances beyond our control. Trying to control the future is like trying to hold water in our hands. The more tightly we grasp, the more quickly it slips away. Instead of trying to control the future, we can choose to trust in the unfolding of life. This doesn't mean being passive or irresponsible. It's about doing what we can to prepare for the future, making wise choices, and taking appropriate actions, while at the same time accepting that there will always be elements of uncertainty. It's about recognizing that we are not in control of everything, and that sometimes we simply have to let go and trust that things will work out as they are meant to. Embracing uncertainty can be a liberating experience. It can free us from the shackles of anxiety and allow us to live more fully in the present moment. When we stop worrying about what might happen, we can focus on what is happening right now. We can appreciate the beauty of the present moment, connect with the people around us, and find joy in the simple things. As we age, we gain a deeper understanding of the impermanence of life and the importance of cherishing each moment. We realize that life is not about avoiding challenges or controlling outcomes, but about learning, growing, and adapting to whatever comes our way. We discover that true peace comes not from trying to predict and control the future, but from accepting its uncertainties and finding contentment in the present moment. By letting go of excessive worry and embracing the unknown, we can cultivate a greater sense of peace, resilience, and joy. We can learn to trust in our ability to handle whatever challenges life may throw our way, and we can free ourselves to live more fully and authentically in the present moment. This is the true gift of aging gracefully, the wisdom to let go of our anxieties about the future and find happiness in the here and now. In conclusion, the journey to a fulfilling and joyful old age is paved with the wisdom of letting go. It's about shedding the unnecessary burdens we've carried for too long, the need for external validation, the pursuit of perfection, the weight of other people's problems, the endless chase for material possessions, and the anxieties about the future. These are the things that weigh us down, steal our joy, and prevent us from truly embracing the present moment. As we grow older, we realize that true freedom comes not from accumulating more, but from releasing what no longer serves us. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to chase approval or conform to societal expectations. Your golden years are a time to prioritize your own well-being, to cultivate inner peace, and to fill your life with love, gratitude, and meaningful experiences. Embrace simplicity, cherish the present moment, and find joy in the everyday. Live lighter, live wiser, and most importantly, live happier. This is the true essence of aging gracefully.